First and foremost, black women are above reproach. If it don't validate us or excuse our bad behavior, we don't want to hear it. Instead, we'll say, well, men do it too.
Some truths are hard to hear, but let's see if she's making any points. Describe it. Let's talk about it.
A group of white girls who are sitting at their graduation engaged. And the question came up, well, why is there not the reality for black women? I know y'all not gonna like what I gotta say, but you know me, I'm gonna say it anyways. First and foremost, black women are above reproach. If it don't validate us or excuse our bad behavior, we don't want to hear it. Instead, we'll say, well, men do it too. Secondly, we'll find every excuse in the world to validate why we don't want to be married or why we don't want to be in a relationship. Well, they get cheated on. Well, they do this. Well, they do that. But then we have all these standards for men, and we're still actively seeking for men in the midst of our hurt while inadvertently telling them to go to therapy. We do not practice what we preach. Thirdly, the independent woman is a myth. Actually cared about being independent and it was something that made you happy, you would not have all these standards to negate your independence. Nobody wants to relinquish power. We'll find every excuse in the world to not be submissive and wonder why white women can get away with their bad behavior. We take everything bad from white women, except for the fact using marriage to our own benefit. But you'll run to the child support office though. Get equality against men, and the only time we actually want to be equal to men is when it comes to degenerate behavior, hypersexuality, abusing or abandoning children. Even when it comes to the gold digger conversation, what you don't see those other women do, even when they are just screwing men for money, is bashing men, inadvertently making men feel like they're not important. Also too, telling them that they don't need men. Psychologically, we have been taught to disassociate ourselves, and even in that Malcolm X quote where he says the black woman is the most disrespected, he also says to be near your man. Because who taught you to hate the very race that you're supposed to be with?
I think she's making a lot of fine points that would have a lot of people feeling kind of uncomfortable. And listen, we always want to make the distinction and make it clear that there are different groups, there are different subsets that act this way, behave this way, and then others that don't. But we get caught up in the image of what it is. The stereotypes exist for a reason because there's a kernel of truth in them. That's why it's easy for people to accept it. When we see this bad behavior and social media and the mainstream media, there's a great job of highlighting the worst of our behaviors. And then we do the work and say, see, it's all of them. We don't do that when it comes down to white culture for some inexplicable reason. But with that being said, putting that aside, some of the points she's making is hard, but it's absolutely factually true. One of the things is, yes, we've co-opted a lot of things from white women, and black women have co-opted a lot of things, but maybe because that was set up as a standard, maybe that's set up as a rubric, but some of the worst behaviors that you've taken from them, or you've taken up a cause that was never really yours. You look at that feminist movement or the women's movement, and it was telling about how these white men were dealing with these white women, and then they recruited black women to say, yeah, this concerns you as well. We didn't have the resources of black men to denigrate you, to oppress you, coming out of Jim Crow segregation, coming out of slavery. We didn't have those resources. We didn't have the ability. We were in the fields, right? We're right there with you. So when you adopted their mannerisms, their techniques, their thoughts, and then they said, good, please go forward and carry the message on our behalf. We're going to sit back here and mitigate the consequences for you being the shield, for you being the frontline defender. So you took it. So you listened to it. So you thought, okay, cool, we're going to do this. The point that she's making, the point that she's making here, that is, I think hits home so poignantly, is you'll look and call out men, your own men, and talk about how worthless and how useless they are, while still simultaneously wanting marriage, while still simultaneously wanting some sort of relationship with a man that you're calling out like a hit dog. Ow. Other races do this a lot more cleverly. You don't see them in mass talking the same type of thing. And if they are, they're talking about men in general. You can see some creators like MJ Gray talking about how men are useless. I don't agree with this and don't do this and don't do this, but still somehow manage to thread the needle and get engaged. It leaves the rest of us here imitating that behavior, and then men looking and say, cool, I don't want anything to do with this. The difference here is you take this performance that's happening online when it talks about how evil men are, how terrible men are, yet they know when to drop the act. They know when it's just to collect your coins and your attention. They'll put it down and say, cool, I already got a ring though. I got a man right here that I'm seriously telling the truth about. I'm telling you guys lies. I'm telling, hey, this is all for a check. Over here, I'm doing my real thing with my real life. I'm taking your money, your attention, and I'm building a real stable life. That's why a lot of these creators have a run and they simply drop off and disappear. I've got the bag secured. I've got endorsements. I've got sponsorships. I got your money. I've made millions. I never have to work again. I'm over here happy with my man. We don't see that part of it. We just look and see this part where it says, hey, your man is terrible for you. Black men do this. It doesn't matter how many times you quote stats with number. Doesn't matter how many times you show CDC says you're a black man, the most involved fathers. It doesn't matter. You took the narrative and you held onto it tight because it helped you not look at yourselves, not look at how you became part of the problem, how you became the prisoner and the warden. You've got the keys to set yourself free, to set the rest of us free, but keep it locked up. Now, we don't want to put this and just say it's just women. We understand black men do the very same thing. They become the very same oppressors that we sit. You don't have to sit here and watch us to denigrate us, to oppress us. We're doing it on our own. Every day we come on here and we say something, well, black woman this, black. Okay. What do you want to do? Right? Some men, some people have just said, okay, I'm cool. Because the psyop that's been running on us has affected us differently. Some men say, I do want to be with you, but it's so prickly, it's so dangerous, it's so taxing. I can't dedicate the rest of my life to sit here trying to address something that was never my personal issue. So they go elsewhere. And then what do? You call them passport bros, you call them, degenerates. And they hear that and they say, cool, this helps validate the reasons why I'm out. Helps validate the reasons why I'm going to go and marry out of the race. And you say you don't care. You say it doesn't matter, but you see think piece after think piece after think piece saying that it's because slavery, it's because they don't love their mama. You get all the reasons in the world, yet I have not seen one where, just like the woman saying, the reason why men are leaving or men are not interested in us or black men are not interested in us is because of us. We helped curate this visage and now we're upset. Now we're upset, but we still don't know how to process this. We're still angry. We're still lashing out. We're still accusing men of the issue, of the problem. You cannot, and you all know this, you all can see this, you all can visualize this. You cannot continue to kick a dog and then get mad when it either just leaves you the hell alone or it bites back. You understand you cannot do something like this and expect great outcomes. You think it's like a shirt that you put on. You put on this misandry shirt, and then when you're done, when you've had your fill, I just take it off and then I can go get my happily ever after. You do it sometimes, maybe not misandry, but you being loose, you be in the streets. But when you talk down about men or when you are in the vicinity of people that do so and you say absolutely nothing, we all have to say, that's the group, that's how they think. That's the group, that's how they think. That's the group, that's how they think. That's the community, that's how they think. So now you don't say, you don't agree, you don't do any of those things, but you look a lot like them. You've never said anything to stop them when they said it. Why do you think men would just say, can't tell the difference? Nor should I sacrifice my limited time on this planet trying to suss out and say, are you one of the good ones? How could I know that? Did you simply take your misandrous sweater off and leave it somewhere in the closet like a KKK uniform? How am I supposed to know? You know what? I don't have the wherewithal, or do I have the time, or am I willing to extend you that amount of grace? I'm simply going to go elsewhere. I'm going to go elsewhere where this was never part of the conversation, where when people understood this is a facade that a lot of white women have put on. Hey, men ain't ish. Yeah, but you got a man. Right? Yeah, men ain't ish, but my man is good. You can see the creators on here saying the very same thing. I'm talking down to men because I know it's profitable, but I have my men, right? I have my men. Think about it. I'll say this when we get in the video. When you hear the conversations about things my man does that would send a low effort man into a coma, why do you need to make that? You have a man, right? You have a man. You're good. You still want to be part of the conversation when you're off to the side somewhere else. How many people do you know in actually healthy marriages that are online preaching that? How many people that are in healthy marriages are online denigrating a race while they have theirs at home? You don't really see that. You don't get the messaging because it feels good and it absolves you of your own sin while you get to cast stones. Listen, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. If you see other videos on your screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. Of course, if you listen to sound of my voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. You're trying to build something dope. See you in the next one.